Francis.
All right. I didn't bring any paper this time. Ready? All right. Welcome back, viewers. Another episode. Towed in with the man himself, Eddie Masters. We're here on site in Leogang, Austria, after following up from Lenzerheide, the first World Cup. How are we feeling, Eduardo?
I'm feeling all good, unfortunately, picked up a bit of an injury a couple of weeks ago, so I had to sit out Lenzerheide, and I'll be sitting out Leogang this week. But yeah, putting on my media hat, and I've been swinging off the dad cam for Red Bull Media House, and
What have you actually done to yourself? Let the people know.
Well, I've just broken a small bone in my shoulder called the coracoid, which you probably wouldn't even know exists until you break it. But
until right now.
Yeah, thankfully it's not something that's like going to put me out for ages. And when I initially heard it, I thought I was like expecting worse. So I'll take a few weeks off the bike rather than a few months. So.
And when do we expect to see you back?
I don't know. I might try riding next week. In Canazay.
Racing?
I'll ride before I race.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you're feeling good, will you race?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll have a crack. Like if I feel up to it, then yeah, I'll have a go. But if I don't feel like I can hold on for an enduro, then I definitely won't.
Won't do it.
But yeah, so it's a shame. I was actually real fired up to ride some downhill for Lenzerheide and Val de Sol. So
I was going to say, because the new format, you can't race downhill and enduro on the same weekend, and Leogang's double, so you would have to race one or the other.
I mean, on paper you can, but
that's not what I heard. I heard you're not allowed to race.
Oh, so maybe the rules say you can't.
I don't think you can. I think technically you can only race one.
But I wouldn't want to. Like,
why not?
So, like, hypothetically, you could do 3 runs on Friday morning and do your 4th run and probably qualify at a World Cup, I think.
Yeah.
You know, like you can get up to speed by your 4th run, and if you can't, then you're maybe doing something. You know, you need to, like, in this game, you need to be able to go fast pretty quick.
Especially when you race the same tracks.
Yeah.
Again and again and again.
But, so like everyone would be like, oh, you're such a legend, you qualified like with no practice, you know, missing a whole practice day. But then on the other flip side, if you wrecked yourself in the quali run, everyone would be like, oh, you're such an idiot.
Yeah, I could easily go
and then you're just like the butt of every joke. So, nah, everyone was asking me that, and I was like, nah, I wouldn't try and do it because like...
Are you one of the very few people that are still trying to do both? Who else have we got? Wax is doing both.
Yeah, Wax does the both. I'm still like really enjoying racing downhill, and like I don't know, like I had a lot of runs last season that didn't really go my way, so I was like still like feel
you're fired up.
Yeah, and
feeling
like
fired up.
And I still ride a lot of downhill.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not like I just pull my downhill bike out and then try and like ride. So yeah, I'll just have to race the tail end of the season and see if I can plead my case to the New Zealand selectors to get a world's entry, because these
for World Cup
for World Champs.
Oh, World Champs in downhill.
Yeah. Because
I've heard a bit of controversy with the old New Zealand selectors.
Yeah.
Picking certain people that.
I just don't really know. But like, I think
very political answer.
if like, let's say like at the moment, last World Cup we had 4. Tohoto, Blinky, Lockie and Brooke, 4 riders in the top 60. So like those guys should get selected, but then that leaves 3 other spots. So like if those 3 other spots don't go to people in the top 60, then I'd plead my case to be like, well, all the races that I race I generally qualify at, and like last year I got top 20 and the year before I got top 10 in Fort William, so put me in the team, please.
they watch the show, man, so they'll see this.
Yeah, but
your main focus is still enduro.
Yeah, main focus is enduro. You know, I would love for my enduro results to like cross over to downhill results. You know, like if you could just like turn up to a downhill race and you're like expecting to be in the top 10 and like, but I don't. You know,
you're just there for have some good time.
Yeah.
Top 20.
Yeah. Like, you know, like I'm always stoked if you get a top 20, and like I've only had 2 top 10s in my career. So like, yeah, I just never quite managed to get that jump from like getting consistent top 20s to to 10s and then 5s, yeah. Which like only a few people do.
Yeah. Hold this. Truck brake.
Hold that note.
So anyway, going back to Downer, so you watched this past weekend in Lenzerheide. What did you think about the race as a whole, like as the new format and just the kind of speed of the track and everyone throwing down? And the juniors going ham straight off the bat.
Yeah, like I thought it was, first thing I thought was really cool was like the new format, like putting the juniors on practicing like today. We're filming this on a Wednesday, so they'll go up in about an hour. And I just think it's cool because it like kind of like all the elites go and watch them ride.
It's way more exposure just for us seeing them and like...
Yeah, we like the elites get to watch the lines form and the juniors kind of get to put on a show that like solely revolves around them. Moving on from that, I reckon it would have been sick if the juniors raced after elite qualies, but they raced before elite qualies on Friday. So like that would have been a thing that I would change because like then the elites come down and then they watch the juniors throw down. Yeah.
Do you also think it's dangerous though, because the juniors practice, then we practice, and then they quali? Do you think that's a bit dangerous that they're racing a track that's not the same as they practice?
Yeah, it's a long time,
and we don't. We fuck the track pretty bad. Like
yeah,
from when they practice to when they practice to when they race, the track's completely different.
Yeah, and if you look at what happened last week, it rained for your practice, and then the juniors raced on, like obviously the track had dried up a lot, but like because it had rained, it had changed like even more. So like I think it's pretty dangerous for those guys.
So it should almost just be practice, race, and then we practice and we quali. Is that what you think?
No, like I just reckon you'd do. Try and get their practice session closer to their race time.
Yeah.
However you jumble it around.
Yeah, but so they don't have a big gap and we ride.
Yeah. So like maybe their practice is more condensed, but they like smash out 2 runs, have a small break, and then go up for their final.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty sick. And like, I don't know, it's cool because the elites then will get to know more of the juniors because they're like, oh, that's that kid, like that Christian Hauser who won. Like, he had kind of come on my radar because I went and helped our Pivot Groms out in Pilo at an IXS Cup last year, and he was racing under 17s against our 2 kids. And he was going real fast, so like, but I didn't realise he'd like been picked up by the union. But yeah, he was ripping and like getting super sketchy in practice, but then like he obviously like made all these mistakes in his practice runs and then just cleaned it up for finals.
Just nailed it. Because he had a quick time.
And like it's cool for them too because like they do their race run on the same, like really close to time like of the day, track conditions and stuff as the elites. So like it is cool for those guys to be able to like compare their times to elite. Yeah. So like he did a 48, which would have been qualified him in top 15 for elite.
On the same day, yeah.
30 minutes after the guy who qualified top 15 in elite did his run.
Yeah, it's not like morning practice and
so like
a whole day.
Because a lot of people, like the internet was blowing up last year with like all the
Jackson and Jordan.
And like some of the runs they were doing are like, they were doing fast as times, sketchy
morning
conditions.
Yeah, morning dew and like just
morning
like,
dew, like patchy light, the way the light like comes through the trees at certain times of the day. You know, like Lenzerheide's super dark in the morning. You come off like where the whip jump stuff is.
And it's always greasy in the morning.
Yeah.
It's always, no matter what, even if the sun's out.
Yeah, and like...
What did you think about as well, because we only had 3 hours practice on the first day. I felt like a lot of more people crashing than normal. But do you think, because it rained as well, do you think because they had less practice, like, well, I've got to go ride even if it's raining, and that kind of caused more injuries? Because I feel like a lot of people crashed straight away, where normally I think people have more time to build into a day.
Yeah, definitely people crash, and I think then word gets around that they crash, and then it seemed like, because I was up on the hill, it seemed like there was a big break of like no one riding. Yeah. Everyone must have kind of got lunch and stuff, and then just punched out there like quick runs, like in a condensed, like not going back to the pit, just like 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Straight back on the lift, which like is like I don't normally do. I just like do a run, go to the tent, do a run, go to the tent, maybe do 2. You know.
I was watching from the sideline. Do you reckon it flowed pretty well, like being a spectator? Like you got to see more and it was all condensed down a bit more, or do you felt like there was just...
I think it just seemed the same, eh? You kind of get like a bit like, I don't know, mountain biked out. Especially like by Friday, Saturday, you know,
You're standing on the side of the track.
especially with this like going out there on Wednesday. You're doing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Like by Saturday, I was like, I've kind of seen everything.
Yeah.
And like the riders get better throughout the week. So like the first day of practice and stuff is sick because everyone's getting sketchy. But then like by the end of it, it's like
Everyone's sorted their shit out.
and I think another thing to take into account was like everyone's coming back off a 9-month break.
Yeah.
And like they're all just like fired up. So like I think maybe that had something to play in with like heaps of crashes. Everyone's just kind of like excited. Full rev, Anaheim 1.
Do you think the tracks are getting too fast though? Do you think they could be slowed down a little bit? Like even that top section now coming onto the road where 2 people broke their back or neck, you came in so fast now and you G'd out and it's so harsh that it's like, does it need to be that fast? Like it was fast before, but it's just all getting...
it is getting pretty fucking quick.
Even today, like...
It's gonna, like, it's not like, there's nothing like that's put in there to catch people out, but it's just the speed.
Yeah.
And like...
There's nothing that hard.
They like, Austria's coming off like 3 weeks of solid rain into 3 weeks of solid sunshine, and the ground is like concrete.
Yeah.
So like, there's going to be, like, the track's going to roll faster than ever, and there's going to be like gravel, no traction, and the track is like taped to be fast.
Yeah.
It'll be cool. Like I think the bottom woods will be sick because like
first time it's ever been dry.
Yeah, and it's like they've taken out like the tight bits. It should be pretty sick.
I think the bottom's going to be great, but like you said, the top bit.
I just reckon like when people crash, it'll be pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
If it's anywhere at the top.
I was thinking like I'm feeling for like I reckon someone out of the top 10 that just like all or nothing. It's like someone's going to go down pretty bad. I just got this feeling like you can't push that edge here when it's that skaty and get away with it. Like I hope nothing happens.
Like both the tunnels and stuff.
Like come
on,
they're
like kind of
coming out doing like
dangerous,
60 Ks.
Dangerous bits. But yeah, and that's why like I think. And then there's certain bits where they tape in lines and you're like, that's like, yes, you've made this section 10 meters wide, but like it's actually only 1 meter wide because that's, no one's going to go low.
No one's doing there,
Yeah, like, so like don't put it in. Try and like think, how can we like make multiple line choices that are relatively like the same speed? Because like no one's going to make a $sign out of a straight section.
Yeah, you're just going to go straight through. Yeah. It's like super wide. It looks like there could be 10 lines, but there just turns out to be 2 most of the time. Anyway.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, it was like, one thing I noticed at Lenzerheide as well was like, people were like losing so much time on like super easy stuff, not on the technical line sections. It's
How's that?
Well, just like in the bottom, like from split forward to the finish.
Oh, and the
a lot of people,
stuff,
like it's like you've made it to the bottom. There's only easy stuff. You're not really concerned about making a mistake, but then like someone will lose a second, and it's just because they're like.
Well, that's where Jordan won the race. Like he was down at the last split,
and it's like the tiny things like braking in a corner ever so slightly, over jumping the bridge jump. Not like going too quick into the finish line and then having to like swoop a bit. It's like the tiniest stuff, but like you had to be so.
That's the thing, it gets easier, but then it also gets harder. Like, you know what I mean? Like the track's easy to ride, but then it's like those hard little, like 1% things that you got to focus on become the tricky bit.
Yeah, and like, I think in terms of skills, like 95% of the field all have the same skills of being able to like hop some routes, do like the actual riding part of a section. It's like the thing that differentiates the top guys with the lower down is like they're riding from top to bottom fast. They're not just like their speed is just high. They're not. There's no like peaks and troughs.
It's just consistent.
So you watch Jordan's run. It was just like out of the gate to the finish. Okay, which is pretty impressive.
There was no slow points.
Pretty impressive for him to lay down a run like that and not be like conscious thought. I'm 40 seconds from the finish line. I'm having a great run. Let's just get it home.
Yeah.
Because then
he pushed and then he won.
And he kept pushing and he won, which is like, that's that's like mature beyond first year
Beyond
type stuff.
first race,
Because like, you know, if I put myself in those shoes and I've like never even been in those shoes of being like, you know, putting down a run like that, I would have been like, let's get her home.
Let's
you know?
glide her home.
Yeah,
Put her in
and then
there. Second place,
that
third.
would have bumped you back that
2-3 spots.
2-3 spots, but you would have been like, I got a podium in my first race.
Yeah, still happy.
But like, it's obvious because he said it. He's like, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't here to win.
Yeah, and then he won.
And then he won.
Yeah, that's pretty damn impressive. And then what did Jackson? Jackson was
Battle of the Jays.
He was 6th.
Yeah.
I was looking at the podium because Jordan won. What's he? 19.
Yeah.
Second was Loris. Loris is a bit old. He's 26, I think. Luke's 28.
Yeah.
And then Laurie's 25, maybe.
And then Finn.
And Finn's like 24. Yeah, I was gonna say it's like I looked at all the ages and it's just like everyone's. It's that age of not giving a fuck.
No.
Well, obviously Luke's kind of like a bit older, but like the majority is up and coming.
But he's just clutch though, eh? Like he actually is. And like,
doesn't matter.
He genuinely, when I talked to him after the race, he seemed pretty stoked with how he rode. It's not like he was like sour or anything about the young guy beating him.
No, he's just.
He was like, oh, I did a pretty sick run, and I was like, because he was telling me when we were riding in Queenstown, he's like, oh, I hate watching my runs sometimes because it looks like I'm not going fast.
Yeah.
But like he looked like he was going pretty quick.
Yeah, he was
and I was like, it looked sick. You know,
you see his gap into the bottom.
Only guy to get downside.
Yeah, and I was just like, but he doesn't look that bad because he nails it.
No, so he got downside, but then he said he blew the turn. Like
he had too much speed.
He had to go, and like you can't break in the apex of the corner anymore and expect to like win a race. You've got to be so at pinpoint.
This is very true. I'm going to check something real quick, Wado. Sorry, I know this camera always. I've learned a lesson. It gets hot and it overheats, so you got to open those. And we're back.
No, leave that in there.
I will. And who else threw down? Dude, Benoit Coulange, almost going off the bridge.
Yeah.
He's by far my favourite rider to watch.
Yeah, I reckon he's sick. And he YOLOs it. He actually does YOLO.
Oh man, I watch him. I get nervous. You know when you're watching someone you really care for.
He's sick. Yeah.
He qualified first here last year. In the wet, so this could be his one.
Mate, he's there every race. He's right. He's like.
He actually doesn't care. He doesn't care.
Cole will be fired up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, at home. Yeah.
Yeah. Like talking to him after the race, he was just like, yeah, it was sick. I was stoked. Like he was like, I was already like frothing on the weekend just from qualifying fastest.
Yeah. But he's just consistently fast everywhere now. And he's got that thing now. I think once you know you can, it takes away that little bit of doubt in your mind, and then you can just keep showing up and doing it.
And their bike looks like it's working real good.
I didn't notice that. Their back end tracks super well.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that. You know, through Lenzerheide, you do the big whip jump, the people backflip, whatever, and then that left-hander, he just seemed to just hook through that bit. And that's obviously like bit off camber, real fast, real rough.
But yeah, like all these bikes are working so good. It's like no one gets bent out of shape anymore.
No.
It's like hard for someone to get buck wild because the speed's high.
Except for Ronan.
Yeah, except for Ronan.
Except for Ronan.
Shout out for Ronan. He's like keeping downhill real.
Yeah. Everyone else is going too easy.
Yeah.
It's actually Ronan Goggins. He's actually David Goggins' real son.
What does it? Keep pushing.
No, stay hard.
Yeah, stay hard.
Keep pushing and stay hard.
Yeah. Shout out Ronan.
Yeah. Here's that same. No, I'm not going to say that actually. Hold that.
What did you think of the whole semi-final final thing?
Well, watching it from the outside, because I didn't actually. Okay, well, watching it from the outside because I didn't actually go in, it was cool to watch because I felt like you had two races, obviously more entertainment, more happening, and even talking like Dylan and stuff, they said it was fine. You kind of you don't get worried because it's just go as soon as you've done practice, do the race or semi and then do the race. It's kind of like so quick that you just you do it, and they said it was fine. I think if you had like a bike issue, it might be you might be pretty rushed, but if everything was going all sweet, I think you're fine.
I found for me, but maybe it's just because but I found it kind of like, it felt like everyone got to show their cards a run early. Like it took away a little bit of the excitement because I was like, oh, he's fast.
Yeah. I felt like the semi wasn't didn't feel like it had any excitement to it.
Didn't have any substance to it.
Nah, the finals definitely felt a bit more exciting, but still it was like the semi taken away a little bit from that. I noticed that for the semi, no one, even the crowd at the bottom, like people didn't seem as loud or excited about it.
I think people were started at the top for the semi and then walked down. Because it definitely filled in for finals. And I think it was cool because like the semi-final was broadcast. So like you are showing more people get a little bit of limelight.
A bit more coverage, yeah. Can I say one thing? I was like, you know when you see something and then you keep seeing it and you're like, this needs to change? Why is it when one of the top riders is coming down, they cut to their team manager like 4 times during their run? Like, what are you doing? Like,
it's not F1 where they're talking to these,
it's like the middle of Jordan's run, they cut to Laurent, which I like Laurent, but I'm watching Jordan's run. He's in the middle of like a steep chute, and then it just cuts to Laurent standing there, stone faced, like, and oh man.
It's like they're filming Christian Horner from Red Bull or something. It's a bit different. The race is only 3 minutes. It's not like an hour and a half long.
But like cut to Laurent at the start of his run, so show the nerves, and then cut up across the line.
Enough with the filler, we want killer.
Yeah. They were filming a girl on her phone during someone's run. They cut to a person on the side of the track on their phone texting, and I was like, oh my God. Like if that was me, and like imagine just say Jordan crashed when they cut to Laurent and then they cut back and he's on the ground.
And I think they've definitely had their fair share of constructive criticism this week.
Well, that's one from me because I couldn't. That's like the biggest one for me. I was like, it's like his time to shine, and then you just take away from it like 3 or 4 different times. Like,
and I haven't actually watched the replay.
Well, I don't. Do we get the replay to watch? So they send it to athletes, don't they? To riders, like they send a link. Because
I think it's on GCN Plus.
But do you have that?
Yeah, they
send you a link or something.
You might have missed out on the free sign up.
Oh,
there was like an email that got sent around, and you just had to like make an account, and then they gave you a free login.
Okay, I don't know if I've got that. I think I maybe. Anyway.
Yeah.
So when you watch
he'll get it for you.
When you watch the replay, watch how many times it cuts to a team
Well,
manager.
I was even just watching the screen at the bottom, but like there was a few things that like. There's things that you kind of like had gotten used to with Red Bull, with like the like tracking and stuff, and like
with the top.
Even just with the splits, like green is up, red is back.
No, they have that, don't they?
Yeah, I think
it's a bit hard to read.
Like may have got the colours wrong, or maybe I'm just colourblind. But
and how do you feel about the top 3 are protected all year, but just the top 3? How do you feel about that? I think no one should be protected. Hey, I think it should be free.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really. You should be rewarded for like a season-long thing, but then like the season has been decided in previous years by less points than what you get for 30th place. So, and that's what they like get guaranteed by having that protection. As long as they finish the run.
Yeah.
So like I think. That's just giving someone free points.
Yeah, but only 3 people, that's the thing.
Yeah, but like...
For the whole year.
Yeah, so like
obviously
it's it's a big advantage for those 3.
Oh, it's massive, yeah.
Yeah, it means like if push came to shove and you crashed out, but you were leading the series by a huge margin, like one of those guys can roll down with a broken arm and finish the run.
And keep getting points, at least 30 points.
Yeah, and win the series.
Yeah.
But like...
They actually, that's a good way to look at it.
Or like with a broken leg, you just...
Yeah, just like, I'm just going to go top to bottom. It's going to take me 20 minutes, but I'm going to get in and then I'm going to go to final.
I don't know. There are some rules like about like percentage from the winner, but like you could like crank down one
with a broken leg. You can still get down like...
Well, you could just like, build a big pad and like...
If you had a big moon boot on, you could probably get down.
For a World Cup overall, you'd be willing to try and ride down this stuff.
You'd be able to get down here. There's like, the B lines are not too bad.
Yeah.
You probably just make the brake worse.
You'd actually be doing the dollar signs on straight sections.
Yeah. I see why they're there now. Yeah, that makes sense. Another thing, Amaury Piron, because he's out. So that's one of the top 3 guys that's now out. So
you should almost want to trickle it down to 4th, give it to Kolb.
Well, that's the thing. I look at like that. Like Kolb's obviously 4th, and he's not protected for obviously if he keeps qualifying well, he'll be protected.
I think they protect the top 10 from this race. So the max people that can be protected for the semi-final
is 10,
It's maybe 13.
I thought it was the same.
Yeah, there's so much confusion.
Yeah,
we want some clarity out.
Well, I think they just kind of make it up as they go, because I heard it was 20 riders, but the same if you're like protected from the year before or something. But then I heard there was only 3 riders protected for the whole year, so it's kind of like picking, grabbing different things. But I just find the top 3, it's just like give protected to the top 10, but then you can lose that after the first few races if you don't do well. Don't just get the whole year protected.
Another thing that was worth mentioning is just like the Whoop heart rate data was a little bit inaccurate, because I don't know about Bruni. Maybe he's just the Iceman.
He's super Bruni, brother.
Yeah, I reckon
beats.
he's in the 160, 170 when he hits the gate.
Dude, he finished his run and he was at 150.
Yeah, chilling, dude.
That's why I got 3rd.
Yeah.
If you want to get those are rookie numbers in this racket. You got to get those numbers up.
Yeah, but like, that was a little bit out.
But also, who cares? I get they're sponsored by him, but like, oh, he's coming down. His heart rate's at 150. Sick. What do you eat for breakfast? Come on, like we can throw other stuff in there. But yeah, I get that. That's obviously a sponsor plug they're trying to throw in there. But I just thought that was something that.
Well, there's enough Whoop banners around. We don't need the heart rate. We just put the banners up.
I think we should start like. Just make them up. Like he's at 250. Oh my god! Come on, run done, please.
Yeah. Why don't they have a finish arch?
Why don't they?
Yeah, they've only got finished poles.
I don't mind that because then you can see the person come off the
maybe
drop.
that's what it is. But I was like, in this capitalist world, I would be selling
a bit of real estate there.
Yeah. Whoop would be paying for that shit.
Yeah, I kind of like the poles just because you can see the rider come off the drop a bit cleaner.
I understand that.
Another thing, so on the French Eurosports, when Dylan was coming down,
Dominic de
Coco, the Italian stallion from France, born in France, the French broadcaster for Eurosports was absolutely ragging on Dylan's kit that he was wearing, like saying he looked like a Power Ranger and just hating on it, and kind of taking. So how do you feel about? Do you reckon commentators should be biased towards what they think looks good? Apparently, he said in French that it looks crap.
Oh,
I'm not just saying that to defend it, but I just thought, well, that's quite hard.
I mean, like, fashion's definitely open to interpretation and opinion, but sometimes in public forum, it's maybe best to keep those opinions to yourself. I don't know.
I haven't listened to it. Obviously, I don't speak French, but I got translated into "this looks shit."
Yeah.
And I thought that was quite
Oh no, I didn't think the kit was that bad.
I don't think it was that bad. But even if you did, I feel like you just wouldn't say it. But yeah.
And then Rachel.
Oh, the mum.
Super mum.
Super mum. Let's get out of the way, Super Bruni. We got Super mum here.
Yeah, fully though.
Do you reckon she made her daughter's lunch that day?
Nah, I think she had her mum here babysitting.
Oh, true.
She wasn't actually even going to come and race Leogang, but...
Is she come?
Yeah.
Oh, she's here, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, pretty solid.
How would you feel, like, having someone rock up?
Yeah,
She's like one of the great... Is she the greatest of all time for women's?
She's one race off Anne Caro's win record.
True. So
41.
True.
You've got to be like... I mean, you can't be pissed off because she is... one away from being the greatest of all time, but like also, it's kind of got to leave a little bit of a sour taste in your mouth that she like is a mum. But then like I think a lot of people forget that she like lives in a bike park and she's definitely like her skills would have been growing even though she hasn't been racing, so like she's actually a better rider than when she left.
But that's super impressive just to come back and just be like.
But like when you like she will have been riding like tech jumps, like her skills.
She's a solid rider. When I watch her practice, she looks like one of the most.
Her skills since she
riders.
stopped racing would have gotten better since like Dovey and stuff has become like this established bike park. Because like they're building like unreal trails there, not just like shit. So.
Do you reckon if she wins, she's going to keep going, or do you reckon she's going to pack it up? She'll be matched.
Yeah, she'll surely.
If she's matched it, she wants to get that one more.
Yeah. But they were all tight, like real close.
They were. There's actually a lot of them really close together.
But yeah, I reckon that would have definitely ruffled a few feathers. And like, like women racing, like they are all friends, but like they're not really friends when it comes to the race week.
I always see them hugging afterwards. I'm like, how many of those hugs are like, is that a real hug, or are you just like, oh, she's hugging her, I better go? Like, we don't really hug that much, like, but we.
Nah, but it's always, it's different.
Yeah, it is different, but like
You can leave it on the track,
Yeah.
whereas like I think sometimes the rivalry comes off the track as well.
yeah. Another thing, what was I going to say? I had nothing to touch on.
This is like a Vodcast,
What do you mean, vodka?
like a video podcast.
Literally, yeah. Well, I was hoping to get a guest, and I was going to get Andreas, but you were hard enough to track down. So to track down.
Yeah, it
everybody.
actually took you quite a few attempts.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
this is the third or fourth.
But this is good because then people just tune in and they just like watch you talk for like 20 minutes and then boom. So if we get a guest next time, man, we're on.
Yeah, we will get a guest. I was going to say Sam Hill coming back. How do you feel?
Jesus has risen, but like he's just rising slowly.
Yeah,
So like, well, the hands are out, but like he's just coming back up.
he's coming up.
Yeah.
I was going to say being.
I mean, it's a hard thing to do.
Well, that's like coming back into a sport where obviously you were the man, and then coming back and like the level has obviously changed, and then having to like step back into that, I think it would probably be like a shock to the system up. Because when was the last time he raced the World Cup? 2016?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Remember he was like, I remember he was, I don't know, he won like, no, that was 2015 when he went over the bars, were leading the race in half yell.
Yeah.
I don't know, yeah, but like, yeah, it must be tough because he didn't look.
Do you think he can do it? He's like the only one on flat pedals now.
Yeah, but it just like didn't even look like he was riding like normally.
Yeah.
I think so. Like, who knows if he can just get like the monkey off his back and like get back into that groove, because like you don't lose the being Sam Hill thing.
Yeah.
It's like you just got to get the like flames going again.
I think it's just again with time, because we were saying like how obviously Rach has a kid, and the biggest thing I think with having a kid is just like you lose time. You lose time to train, you lose time to focus, and then also you're like, don't want to throw myself down this hill that fast, I've got a kid I've got to look after, kind of thing, like it'd play on your mind. Sam has 3 kids. It's a lot of motorbike races to get to.
Yeah. And like I think like now you got to ride your downhill bike heaps.
Yeah, it's
Like,
just
how much downhill do you get to ride in WA?
Yeah, it's just getting time on the bike.
And I kind of want to like be in Europe and just like rally.
Yeah, it would be interesting though.
Like if I was like, I'd be like, if I had limited time, I would be like, gym, all that shit wouldn't even like play on my mind. It'd just be bike time, because it's like you can get the biggest gain from that, not from like getting your 1RM bench up 10 kilos, because that doesn't translate to time.
Yeah.
But like riding and being comfortable in your setup and like that's time.
Do you reckon we got a guest here? Cameron,
Oh, Cam,
would you like to be a guest?
bring it in.
We found the big horse.
I've got a bit on, but I can spare a minute or two.
Yeah. We'll put the bike down. Join the desk.
Oh, okay. A bit serious. Hey?
Big horse. We knew we'd get someone.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Cameron Cole, team manager of
2006 Junior World Champ.
Welcome to the show. We're here with It's called Toad In.
We're just doing a bit of a pre-race, re-race type thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
How did you find last weekend?
Pretty full on with all the new stuff
Yeah.
going on. But I think like on our side, race day was pretty smooth. Just rolled with the punches, and yeah, I guess it's like for this week, it's a competitive advantage is to have learnt lots from last week and just implement it straight away. So we'll see how we go with that. But yeah, it's at least it's not raining. It's been 2 banger weeks so far, so roll it on. I reckon.
On the back of 2 pretty non-so-banger years of Leogang as well, with the rain.
I think it's, yeah
I think we're well overdue.
I think every time I've been here, I don't know about you guys, but it feels like it rains, and it's just...
No, every year we do the same thing. Track walk in the sun, rain the first day of practice, kind of shit quality, and then sunny Sunday. Every time we do the same.
For sure.
Be worth talking to Cam, because Ethan kind of got a little bit stitched up there.
Yeah.
He qualified quite well, didn't he?
Yeah, and got DQ'd.
He was top 15 on both of the runs, and on the run he was obviously top 15 in the semi and got DQ'd. So
why did he get DQ'd?
He went between the tape on the coming out of the first woods, and then you go onto the bike park for more or less the first time, and then there's a step down into that real fast section.
Yeah.
I think he lost the front a bit and turned into it to catch it, and then there was like a diamond between the beeline around the jump and the actual the main part of the track, and he went off there and then went off the takeoff, like outside of the tape, more or less.
True.
There was a video of it, so it was like.
But then, like,
pretty clear, but
someone said the rule is that you have to have gained an advantage.
well, that's what.
So, like, if that's the rule, because I don't know what it says in the rule book, but if that was the rule, him casing the jump, I would say, is not gaining
He did not gain
an
no,
advantage.
No.
So then, like,
But in the rules they sent out in that PDF before the race last week about the new markings on the tracks, basically it seems to set out like that it's at their discretion, so they can just.
Make it up as they
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
And then Greg got DQ'd, but he was obviously protected, so he went through. But that wasn't clear either.
Because how was it?
So-
He got DQ'd when he had a flat.
Yeah, because
he hit a flat, oversteered, and, like, just cut across the pole.
Exactly, yeah.
So, like,
And
he was.
That's kind of what Ethan did, but he was number 10, I guess it was, and so he was protected. So he
So that's
went
the
through
weird
that.
thing. If you cheat, but you get in. Well, not
Right.
cheat, yeah, but you're protected. But then
That's
it's
the-
like,
That's the question, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of like there's I think we need more specific words in the rule books to like cover these kind of scenarios.
Because we are gonna have troubles with those tackle pad. Because like
all
those
of it.
tackle pad things, which are like in the middle of the track, I think the ruling is you can't like jump.
yeah, but if you can't jump
can't
over
ju-
them, but you can.
That's what they like.
Yeah, you tackle bad.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? If like so you can't jump over
But,
them,
like
but
so,
what's
like
over them?
there's an angle. They're shaped like that,
Yeah.
like that. You know, like, is it pedal, crank, wheel? What's the like determining factor of like what's crossing over it?
Yeah, at what point is it course cutting, right?
And then
Yeah.
like Bernie raised a good point on track walk, because like there's a one up there on the first stump section that like the race line is going to go between a stump and one of the tackle pads, and like it kind of sets you up that you could like jump, but obviously like you're not allowed to jump over this pad. But then like if footage comes out, depending on the angle that you're looking at the pad, it's going to look like
You've jumped it.
jumped
yeah.
over it, even though if you looked at it straight on, your wheels might be inside the pad.
And it's not like in rugby, you use the term tackle pad, so I bring this one up. Like in rugby, you've got a linesman that's a professional who's looking down the line at these things and making a judgment
Yeah.
call. Here, it could be any marshal, and so there's a lot of grey areas with this stuff. Is it us just figuring it out, and is this the right answer? Is this the right way forward?
But
Or
like-
does
but-
this need fine tuning? I
Who
think?
Yeah.
makes the call? Like UCI or?
I don't know, but like in qualifying, like let's say someone on a 160 plate qualifies real well, and then some footage comes out on Insta or like a Snapchat video or something, and it's like looks, like if it's like 50-50, you're like, no one's videoed his run,
Yeah.
but like something's come out. So like who makes the call? Because like that's where I was saying, like from different angles, things could like skew how it looks.
So in Ethan's case, there was a photo of where his tyre line was,
Yeah.
and Ethan said, I didn't gain an advantage, and I kind of backed him on it. And this was like immediately after his run. We were held in the, at the end of the keyhole there. Ruri was there, plus the UCI officials, who are, I guess, the ones who are ultimately designated to make the call. And they said we were all good. So we go back to the pits, and mechanics starting to get things ready for finals, and we're all like, yeah, on. And then Ruri rings me and says, you got to come back because there's a video. So then someone sent the video to them, and that's kind of how. But then
you just sit down and you go like, okay, like, so let's say the call sits with Roy. Ruri goes, did he gain an advantage or not? He's cased the jump. What's his speed trap? Could be 6 k's an hour slower because that's where the speed trap was, and then you're like, okay, no advantage, he's in.
yeah,
Like you could and if it lands on one person, like to make that call, then I think like if I was making the call and it was 50-50, I would always lean towards that they're not going to get in, because then otherwise you're going to get heaps more trouble. But like if you've got like a video of him like casing a jump and losing speed, then you're just going to be like, sweet, no advantage, he's in.
I think that was their argument too, was we open this up now and this is all new. It's just going to create headaches.
But they're going to get
next week
headaches.
after. They are, yeah.
especially with this one line up there for this week, because people are going to like really thread this fine line of where this pad is.
Push the limits of it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How else was it being on the other side? Because I was up there with you watching. What kind of feedback are you trying to give like riders when you're up there watching? Are you just like pump them up, or are you actually trying to really find the fastest line, or like really pick out where they should go?
Yeah, it depends on the section, I think. But like last week, it was changing quite a lot, the track, and then the conditions kind of added to that as well. But I think, you know, each rider's different, and that's where I just try and like learn what the rider, kind of what they need individually, and then kind of tailor to them what each one of them's going to need, you know.
They probably need someone right now.
Taking photos.
I'm trying to turn it off. It's not my phone, but I'm taking it down there. Yeah. So it's kind of about that. I guess, you know, everyone's going to be different with the things they do on track. I guess we're still learning how to do that stuff. I've only been doing it for a year, but I think it's, some of it's confidence stuff, just being like, yeah, you're on it. And like, I think, you know, when you see a rider on track and they're on it, you know it straight away.
Oh, you can
and
just
it's like,
tell.
they're on, and mate, if
Yeah, it's like you would have seen, like when
bro, you're on.
I was like saying to you, I was like, oh, Ethan's riding really well. You can just see it.
Yeah.
So like there, you just step back. You're like, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job.
You don't mess with it. Yeah.
It's really small stuff at that point. But even when a rider's trying to build confidence and trying to, you know, there might be one really big line, and it's like just once they're on that, you know, and then I think like a lot of teams and a lot of riders, they don't look at the easy bits between, and I know some people.
No, this is what we were talking about.
And like there's so much time, like, you know, Greg's always done well at Lenzerheide, and he always kills that bottom section, and it's such a short bit of track, and there's nothing going on, but he just rips it, and then he you know,
people were losing a second.
Yeah.
From a step down to a bridge jump to a chicane on a grass.
Well, that very last bridge is so crucial if you land in it, and just that momentum you carry to the end. And it's hard to get right as well.
But we were saying that's why we were like, it's like even more impressive that like Jordan was able to like in his first World Cup push and win the bottom split, because like if we were in those shoes, I would have like subconsciously said to myself, you've had a great run, let's get it to the line. And like that takes 10% of like the final push.
That's
because you're like not racing.
That's not the mindset you want, right?
Nah,
you
so
need
like
to be just on it.
You need to like gas from top to bottom, whereas like, you know, you're just like.
I think about it. Last week you're like, I'm on a good one. Don't fuck this up.
And as soon as that thought goes through your head, you've fucked it up.
Yeah, you're done.
If you're planning on winning a race.
Yeah.
Do you reckon the racing's changed? Like, is that a new mindset? Like, is the stuff...
No, I think that's the winner's mindset.
Yeah.
That's for people who want to win the race.
Sure.
But like the winner's mindset and someone who's like trying to get their first podium is different.
Yeah.
But like to be able to do that in your first elite race, it's pretty crazy.
Just to kind of go back to your question before, like what you're seeing up there, like one thing I did notice at Lenzerheide was lots of riders struggling, like even the best, like Bruni was struggling right off the bat on day one.
Crashing as well.
Yeah, crashing and like big stuff some of the time. And to see them kind of like go from that on day one to actually putting it down on Saturday is, you know, it's mental stuff. It's just trusting the process, even if something goes wrong, like all these little things. And even Jordan didn't look super fast.
No, you know? not until the final.
Yeah.
Like actually though, because I was like, we would have been there every day watching, and I was like, but then I haven't really like ever gone up there to watch loads of the junior races, so that's kind of the first time I've watched Jordan ride throughout a week. So maybe that's just how he goes, because like he looked like he was just like feeling it out. But then obviously he felt it out pretty good.
I think, it's like the best riders are good at that, and they can do that consistently. They just build their speed and then judge that one run to perfection, because they're on the limit, they're not over it, they're riding confidently like you're saying before. So but that shows you like all the different variables coming together to get that one run right, and we know how it is like as racers, and it's
like Lucas Shaw used to be really good at that. Well, he's still good at it, but he used to ride practice.
England.
When they just cruise practice and then turn it on for finals or quali, like every time.
And sometimes when you do it like a gnarly race run, like you couldn't do that again.
No.
Like if you get a rerun and you're on a killer run, like that you've used up that one run.
Yeah.
But like Yeah, and that's when the new format is like people are going to have to like slightly build that semi-final run into the curve of the last run being the fastest.
Yeah, don't overcook it and then come back. And
or don't go like that in your speed.
Seems like there's a lot more management to the weekend now. Like that one run has thrown a few other things in there that mean you have to manage in a different way.
It's going to be interesting. Picks for this weekend before you go.
Wow.
Oh, it's a hard question.
Yeah, Jackson's probably built some confidence too, especially because he, obviously didn't get off to a great start with health and things like that. Was it injury or health?
I think he had something go wrong.
Yeah, he's had appendicitis.
Okay, so he'll be building still.
Which is like pretty gnarly. That's not like...
Yeah, you're proper sick from it, like you can't...
Yeah, like hospitalised and
stomach
stuff.
surgery, basically, I suppose, which is invasive, isn't it?
Wee bit.
Yeah. So, I don't know, but then... Yeah, all the where was Amory? Is he good this week?
Yeah, he's out.
He's broken his neck for the whole season.
Oh man,
had surgery and stuff.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he's gone.
And he did qualies and was
That's
planning
why
on.
I did not expect that.
He was planning on riding here, and they just did some extra stuff, and we're like, whoa.
Sit on the couch.
Go home, man.
Yeah.
Go home.
Well, I mean that's
Dude, not move.
Yeah, that's blown it wide open. So I don't know. Oh yeah, all the syndicate guys are on it. Gravity was strong last week, especially. I was like. I don't know.
Too many, hey?
You can't really pick outside of that. You guys
More exciting than the motocross.
Dylan was on it.
At least we've got a pretty healthy field.
It's deep. I couldn't. Honestly, even standing on the side of the track, if you were to ask me tomorrow after practice, you still wouldn't know because you couldn't. After last week, you couldn't tell. You know? So, which is exciting. Some people are saying
Laurie's going good.
Yeah.
There's some.
It's going to be a good season.
That's it. All right.
Bloody good.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you very much. I'll catch you later. Back to jobs.
Laters.
Back to team manager duties.
Oh, works out every time.
I know, there's always someone.
Okay, should we just wrap it up and I'll pick who I think is going to win, and I'm going to go with Finn Isles.
Finn Isles?
Yep, and...
Do top three. Top three men and top three women.
Okay, Finn.
Yep.
Loris.
Oh yeah, he's good.
Jordan.
I like that. He's good in the...
Bruni Jackson. Top 5. Top 3 women. Valley, Cammy, Rachel.
Ooh, I'm going to go Rachel, Valley, Cammy, Marin, Eleonora.
Yeah, nice.
And Loris.
Yeah.
Benoit. Troy. Danny. Angel. Suarez. Close it.
See you later.
Till next time.
Too easy. See, no planning. How long was that?